Good morning. This is my titre séjour, literally translating to title of sojourn, or a sojourner's title, or a sojourner's permit, or a long stay visa. It's a permit, I don't know. It's like a green card, but it's pink. I've had one of these before, twice before, but they've never been quite this small, which was a really nice thing to discover when I moved back to France, 3.5 years ago. The thing is that it's only good for 4 years. There's an expiration date right here, February 28th, 2021. Now you might be thinking, Jay, that's like 5 months away. Why are you worried about this? Well, for a number of reasons. COVID's one of the, that's probably the biggest reason. But the reason that it's important is because I want to stay. I don't want to leave France. I don't want to leave Paris. I want to live here. That's the whole reason that I'm here in the first place. And if I don't manage to renew it, I won't be allowed to stay.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Sorry I'm late.
You have to go with the correctly printed Peloton.
I guess so. There are worse things in life, that's for sure. There you go. I'm just about now that you're. There you go. See, I was thinking of you while I was on vacation.
Full time? Yes.
It's like a vacation in an envelope for you. Yeah. It's not that I'm at like dire risk of getting kicked out anytime soon. I don't think anybody's going to come knocking on the door or anything like that. But the complications involved were already enough before COVID, and now there's some genuine concerns. I have some friends that are in a similar situation as me that have, I think, the same visa. And they were the ones that were telling me that they're not able to go in. Normally, you have to go in person to get stuff figured out. Like, you just got to be there and push. But apparently, they're saying, don't come in, only reach out by email. I found that email form. Looks nice enough, but pretty sure it gets sent into a black hole. Which, if that's the case, what do you do? If they're not answering emails and they're not responding to the phone and you're not allowed to go in, what does that mean? And again, the thing is, I don't want to leave. Like, this is where I want to be. French citizenship for me is one of those things I've also been thinking about a lot. Partially because it's really important to me to get it, and the main reason being because I don't want to leave. Like, they can't make me leave if I'm a citizen. And also because it opens up a lot of other opportunities that otherwise are totally unavailable to me, or at least very challenging. They're available to me, just I don't know how to, maybe, you know what I mean. Like, they're not easy. It's interesting because so many people have just completely changed their lives as well. And for me, I feel so at home here with quarantine, for example, lockdown, whatever you want to call it. There's nowhere else I wanted to be. You know, I would have loved to have been with my family, especially to support them. Being totally alone during the experience wasn't necessarily the best, but I also feel just completely at home here. Like, there's nowhere else that I want to be. Even if I want to leave Paris sometimes, because you have to leave the city. Like, you got to get out, both because you got to get away from the pollution for a little bit. Mountains or beach do you a lot of good, and also then you get to come back. And one of my favorite parts about living in Paris is leaving, so I get to come back and have that feeling again. I imagine this being my home base forever. And the only way that's going to happen is if I can, well, you can always get longer visas. Like, there comes a point where your residency card renews every 10 years, which is a significant amount of time, but I don't know, why dance around it? Why not just get that citizenship? The other side of it that's a real benefit is that when I do want to take a break, let's say I want to get out of Paris for 6 months, that opens up all of Europe to move. It's just like moving states at that point. Like, you don't need any special documentation, you don't need a visa, you don't need to prove anything, you just go. And that's really freaking cool. And so for me, I feel like, I've talked about this before, but I feel like I almost have an obligation to get my nationality, my French citizenship, because it's such a massive opportunity that not everybody gets, and if I don't take it, I'm kind of an idiot. Why is all this important right now? Well, part of it is because, you know, with travel restrictions, the inability to go anywhere, the inability to, you know, go back to America right now. I could technically go back to the States and I could come back, I think, without any problems, but there are a lot of complications involved, including getting tested in time to come back, because like the French government wants you to be tested within 72 hours of coming back, but getting test results within 72 hours, even here, is pretty challenging to do. So there's a good chance that things get very complicated in coming back. Plane tickets are already, you know, not the cheapest as it is. And we all know that borders have closed and random things have happened along the way. That said, if my titre séjour is going to expire, which is my, you know, guaranteed entry back into France, if it expires at the end of February, and I can't get in for whatever reason, like let's say I can't get in to get even an appointment. If you have an appointment, that's basically all you need. Like, you just need the proof that you have an appointment coming, and they'll treat whatever it is you already have as valid until that appointment has come and gone. But of course, on the flip side, if I can't get an appointment, if nobody responds to the emails or the phone calls, or I'm not allowed to go in and set up an appointment, and it expires, on the one hand, it'll be fine. Like, I'm happy to stay here even if it expires, because there's going to be some level of grace for everything, and they'll know. It's not like I'm going to get actively kicked out. However, if I were to leave and try to come back, I'm not so sure that they would let me back in, and that would be severely problematic for obvious reasons. So, do I try to make like one trip back during all of the madness that's going on right now to see my family maybe over Christmas? Or do I accept the fact that I may not be able to see them for maybe another year? I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. I don't know what the answer is to a lot of the things. This is what's going on, and something that's really on my mind. And this is honestly, seriously something to consider. I mean, as much as I want to maintain like a hopeful outlook, the reality is, I don't think I'm losing my hopeful outlook. I'm just trying to be realistic. And I've already been thinking in terms of like, I'm not going to be able to travel back to the States until things get under control. Same thing that Americans aren't really going to be able to come here until things get under control. Just a reminder to make sure that you vote in November, because it's really important. But, you know, like it's all kind of bananas. And the way that it impacts me in multiple ways, there's lots of ways that it impacts me, but one of the big ones is, yeah, I'm not going to be able to go back to the States. I don't know. Ever? No, I'll be able to go back eventually, but like, part of it's like, do I really want to go back to, you know, in the midst of all this? Do I really? It's a lot of a headache and a lot of risk, and potentially, you know, I just need to quarantine on both ends. And then part of it, of course, is that at least I'm here. Like, I'm really happy to be here, and I'm really happy to be able to share Paris with you if you can't travel, if you can't come for a visit. But it's a lot to think about, and it's kind of heavy. And, you know, it's nothing new. It's not like these are surprising things, but at the same time, like, the realization that I might have actual legal problems if I try to leave soon changes the game significantly. So we'll see. I think that was one of the things that really kind of struck me though recently, where I was like, wow, this could actually be really complicated. Like, when I was talking to this friend who's having a hard time renewing her titre séjour with her family and everything, I was just like, oh my gosh, I hadn't really thought about how, like, yeah, if I can't get in for 6 months to a year because of all this madness, I might be here illegally. Not really, I'm sure it'll all work out just fine. But in the end, it's not about being here illegally or not. It's about like, well, I can't leave the Schengen zone then, which means, I mean, yeah, honestly, probably just staying in France to be totally safe and only crossing the borders by train at most. No more airplanes for me, which I'm okay with. I'm okay with not flying, especially with COVID. And even before COVID, kind of over it anyways, but yikes. I mean, it is pretty crazy. This is something that I've been thinking about a lot too, is that not only is there a possibility that I won't be able to go back to the States for a while, but I mean, really, international travel is changing. Travel in general. I don't know what it's going to look like in the end. I don't want to, make prophecies that won't come true because false prophets and all that. But, I've been really lucky to be able to travel as much as I have and see the world as much as I have. And I'm really grateful for that. And I'm starting to miss it. Going down to Hendaye for a little bit of a vacation made me really want to travel some more. And I do have some trips within France that I'd really like to do when I'm not doing the 80 and 8 here in Paris. And so there's a good chance we'll do some more day trips and get out and about because it does feel safe. It is possible, but it's also just, different. It's all very weird. A lot to think about. And I obviously am thinking a lot today. And I'm sure things are going to work out, and I'm not really that worried about it, but there are some very serious things to be considering and some potential consequences for the decisions that I make. So it's all a part of it, but especially on that long journey to getting French citizenship, which many of you are here to kind of see whether or not I manage it, it's a pretty serious couple of hoops that I'm going to have to jump through here soon. Made all the more serious and all the more, complicated by the COVID situation. So those are some thoughts for today. Hope you enjoyed it. I hope it wasn't like a bummer or something. I hope you enjoy at least knowing what I'm thinking about. And it's just part of the journaling aspect of vlogging every day. I will see you bright and early in a couple of days for the beginning of the 80 and 8. I'm very excited for it. It's in the vibe of, we don't know how and when tourism is going to come back. I figured, you know what? I'll still share things as I come across them, places that I love, things I enjoy for sure. But I figured we'd learn and explore a little bit more around the city together, and maybe, just maybe, that would be interesting for you as well as for me. I'm really looking forward to doing it, so tune in for that. And again, if you're not a patron already and you want to become one, thanks to my patron producer today, Stephen Bullock. Stephen's got access to a map of the city that I made that'll help you follow along and learn, and you can fill it in whatever way you want, whether you want to just color it in or you want to write notes, you want to take the names of the quarters down as we go, whatever it is, it's there for you over on Patreon. You can download it and print it off today at whatever high quality format you really want to do. And I'm gonna go put this together, and then I've got an event this evening that I'm gonna go to, and I'll see you bright and early, in 2 days for more of this and more wandering through the city of Paris. No passport or visa required.